Today I want to talk about why it can feel so tempting and so good to just say, sod it, I'm done with this. I'm not going to bother with sobriety anymore. I'm not going to even try and be alcohol free. I'm tired of trying and failing, so I'm not going to put myself through that anymore. It feels too hard, so I'm going to quit quitting. Now, I'm not talking about this today because I actually want to inspire you to do this. Far from it. Going back to drinking isn't really going to make you feel better. It just feels that way for the briefest moment. But if you are going through something like this right now, I think it can be really helpful to just take a step back and understand what's happening in the moment and kind of see what the bigger picture is. So perhaps I can help with that. Maybe you've been trying all month not to drink, or you promised yourself you wouldn't, but it's been really hard. Maybe you've had a couple of slips and you've felt so awful afterwards that the effort of picking yourself back up and starting over, it just seems too much. So you decide that you're going to stop trying. You decide to give yourself a break from all this, and you think, well, I'll just delete all those emails that come from the sober school without even opening them. I see you. I know that this phase can be accompanied by some thoughts about how maybe you weren't that bad anyway. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe it's just not the right time. When you make that decision to stop trying, you get some instant relief. And that is what's so tempting. You get relief from the effort of trying. You get relief from the, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this thoughts. You get relief from the scariness of all the unknowns, and you get relief from the hardness of just doing something new and different. And instead, you get the comfort of being back with what is familiar, back drinking. But here's what you've got to remember. You only get that relief for a short amount of time. And after a while, and it might be a few hours or a few days, all those other thoughts come back in. You know the ones I mean? The ones that had you taking action in the first place. The thoughts about how terrible you feel hungover, how you're tired of being in the cycle, that you're worried about the impact of drinking on your health, that you're scared nothing's ever going to change, that, oh goodness, you just don't want to carry on like this. So I think it's really important to remember that the relief you get from deciding you're not going to bother anymore is actually very short-lived. You are choosing short-term comfort and long-term discomfort. You've got the short-term comfort of saying yes to that urge to drink, but then you have got the long-term discomfort of feeling bad and all the other unpleasant stuff that has led to you watching this video today. So there are 3 quick points that I want to make today about all of this stuff. And the first one is about choosing short-term discomfort so you get long-term comfort and well-being and satisfaction in your life. So you're choosing to say no to a drink and break a pattern of behaviour because the long-term gains are worth it. And I just want to invite you to have a think about all the other areas of your life in which you do this automatically. Because if you're like a lot of the women who follow my blog, then I am guessing you are pretty smart and driven and successful in other areas of your life. You've worked hard and reached goals and done things that you're proud of. So that means you already have experience of choosing short-term discomfort. You know, you had to choose that in order to pass exams, get promoted, train for that race, be there for that person. And you did all that because you knew the long-term gains were going to be worth that short-term discomfort. And you can absolutely do this with alcohol as well. this brings me on to my second point, which is it won't be this hard forever. Promise you. I think that one of the reasons we choose short-term discomfort in other areas of life so readily is because we know it's a passing phase. I mean, take learning to drive, for example. That's really overwhelming at first because you have so many different things to do at once and think about all at the same time. But we stick with it because we know we're not going to struggle forever. We've seen other people do it. We know that, hey, we'll get it eventually and we'll pass the driving test eventually, and then we'll feel more confident and it's all going to be worth it. If you believe that you have an addictive personality and this is always going to be hard for you and you're going to have to take it one day at a time for the rest of your days, then it's going to be tough to stay motivated. It sounds like you're going to be pushing a rock up a hill for the rest of your life. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I think drinking is just a learned coping mechanism and a pattern of behaviour that can be unlearned. And I am here to tell you that alcohol-free living is great and it's a doddle once you get going. It's a walk in the park compared to drinking, but you've got to be willing to stick with it for a while. Get that practice in, get onto the good bit and let go of this idea that drinking is the one thing that's always going to be your weakness, always really tough or impossible to figure out. You've got to be willing to give up that story. And the third and final point I wanted to make was you really need to get excited about alcohol-free living. I was thinking about those other examples and the reasons why it's easy to push yourself at work was because part of you's already excited about getting that promotion, and you push yourself to study for your exams because you're already sold on the idea of getting a degree. You stick with your driving lessons because you've seen other people driving and you know you want to do it too. You've thought about all that stuff. You know the outcome. You've got a clear picture and you want it. With sobriety, I wonder if that piece is not quite there for you yet. I mean, to stick with my driving example, with driving, you don't have to seek out inspirational people who learn to drive because, you're surrounded by them. And most of us are brought up to think that being able to drive is a good thing, it's a worthwhile endeavour and we can do it. All of that's within us. But with sobriety, it doesn't work like that. We don't have that inbuilt conditioning around it. So you need to proactively give your brain something useful to start thinking about and start building up a picture of why this is going to be worth it. Start getting excited about the benefits. Find people online who inspire you. Start an Instagram account for collecting quotes and images that motivate you. Click on my reviews page on my website and watch one of the 20 odd videos on there from women talking about what their life is like now. Really actively work on building up that picture and getting excited about it. So those are my 3 quick things. Choose short-term discomfort for long-term comfort. Remember that it won't be this hard forever, and get excited about alcohol-free living. I hope what I've talked about helps you overcome the urge to give up, because honestly, sticking with sobriety might just be one of the best things that you ever do. I'm Kate B. Wherever you're watching this, scroll down, leave me a comment, let me know how you're feeling. I can't wait to hear from you. Have a good week.